Good morning. I apologize. I was hoping I'd be back today, but obviously that is not going to be the case. But we will get through this last lesson, Module 3, Lesson 12 for this week. And hopefully I will be back on Monday. So today's lesson, I can add and subtract mixed numbers with unlike denominators. We're going to be using strictly the computational method of doing this. We will not be using any models. So if we look at this page right here, and this is page 45 of your notes, you'll see we're going to basically be sticking right to this page because we're going to be doing all of our work right here. On the actual presentation on Schoology, it goes through with some of the answers, but we're going to work right here together today to be able to see how do you add mixed numbers with uncommon denominators. And it's pretty much the same as what we've been doing. It's just now we have mixed numbers instead of just single fractions. So it says show your work. If the denominators are unlike, find the LCM of each denominator. That's the least common multiple. Okay, so some of you look and you see 4 and 5, and you already know what that common denominator is going to be. Okay, but let's go through the process. First, you find your multiples. So you do 4, and you'll want to stop as soon as you run into one that's also a multiple of 5. So we have 8. We have 12. Nothing so far. 16. And we have 20. And 20 looks like it's going to be a common multiple of 5, because if we do 5, 10, 15, and then 20. Now you should be writing this down in your notes as we go. And 20 becomes our common denominator. So we're going to put 20 down here. Our LCM is 20. We're going to put our 20 in each of these denominators because that's going to be our common denominator. And it's a really good idea to set the problem up just like this, because what you're going to need to do next is convert the fractions to equivalent fractions with like denominators. Remember the same operation on the top as the bottom. So you ask yourself the question, 4 times what gives you 20? And that obviously is 5. So the fraction that equals 1 is going to be 5/5. And 1 times 5 is 5. So we have 5/20. And then we do the same down here. 4 times what gives me 20? And that's going to be 4. So we want to make it 4/4. 4 times 4 is 16. Now, they have you rewrite all this down here, which I don't really know that's necessary, but because we are taking the notes on this page, that's what we will do. I usually like to just simply have the 8 and the 2 already written up here. Whoops, I was going to write something else. I like to have the 8 and the 2 already here, because then you could just simply add the 8 and 2 and get 10 over here. Okay, it says rewrite the equation. I don't think that's really necessary, but then add the whole numbers. 8 plus 2 is 10. And then add the numerators, keep the denominators the same. That's going to be 21. 20ths, because 16 plus 5 is 21. Now, this is where we need to take a pause. It says, do we have any improper fractions? And the answer is yes. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to divide out that fraction. Now they do it slightly different here. Okay, they do what's called decomposition of the numbers. I like to just simply say, let's divide it out. And that's pretty easy because it's going to be 1. When we divide it out, we find our remainder is 1. The 1 goes in as a numerator. The number that we divided by is the denominator, okay? But what they do is they say, well, if we take out 20 20ths, that's going to be 1. And then we'll have 1/20th left. So what they do then is they take this 10 down here, they take this 20/20th and they say it's a 1. And then they add those two together to get 11. They take this 1/20th and they put it over here, and then they put it together, and voila, 11 and 1/20th. Now, what I would ordinarily do is I would just simply say, okay, we have 1 and 1/20th. The biggest mistakes made by 5th graders is they put that down as their answer, but you cannot forget to add the 10, and that would make it 11/20ths. So it's basically what we've already done with fractions with uncommon denominators when we're doing it computationally, except for now we just add in the whole number, which really is not that difficult. Okay, so I'm going to erase all this so that we can move on to the next page. And you'll see all the steps that we just did just carried through. Okay, this is a bobblehead doll. Okay, meaning that since it's improper, it will fall over and be divided. And there's our simple answer. So let's move right on into the guided practice. Arbany filled 1 1/2 pieces of paper for a book report. She filled 2 9/12 pieces of paper for a science fair report. How many pieces of paper did Arbany fill up in all? So we're going to add those two together. And remember, we set it up so that we're setting it up vertically. Whoopsie. I thought I was on a writing tool, but I guess not. Okay, so we're going to write 1 1/2. And we're going to put it over top of 2 9/12. So what's going to be our common denominator between 2 and 12? Our common denominator, you could do the writing out all the multiples of 2 and 12, and you would have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, you're going to say, oh, look, that's the same. So 12 is going to be our common denominator. And we already have 12 over here. So that one's just going to shift right over. We don't need to do anything to it, which is kind of nice. But we do have to convert this one. We need to find its equivalent fraction. So 2 times what gives us 12? That'd be 6, 6. 1 times 6 is 6. 6/12 plus 9/12 equals 15/12. And 1 plus 2 is 3. So we're done, right? Wrong. We have to look at the fact that it's an improper fraction. So we're going to need to divide this out. 15 divided by 12. You have to go through all these extra steps. So 12 times 1 is 12. 15 minus 12 is 3. That 3 is going to go in as a numerator. The 12 is going to go in as a denominator. So we have 1 3/12, but we have to add in this 3 over here, which is going to make it 4 3/12. So then you say, well, I'm done, right? Wrong. you still have to simplify because there's one number I could divide by both 3 and 12 to simplify it, and that would be 3/3. Kind of like this step here, but we're reversing it with division. And in this case, 3 divided by 3 would be 1. I'm going to erase this over here because it's starting to look a little confusing. We can't forget the 4. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So our answer is 4 1/4. Okay, and let's see what they have over here. 4 and 3/12. They didn't simplify it. Naughty, naughty. Okay, but it is the answer that's right there. Okay, they should have simplified it. They didn't. That's okay. All right. All right, forgot to erase all this, so let me do that real quick. That's what happens if you don't erase it. You end up with it on the next page, which doesn't help us. Oops, and we also need to erase the answer. Okay. Naha made a lunch consisting of 1 5/12 cups of broccoli and 3 1/4 cups of rice. How many cups of food did Naha make in total? I'm guessing the name is Naha, not Naja, but who knows? Anyway, so we would have to write this vertically, 1 5/12 and 3 1/4. Now, some of you might be able to start to say, I already know what that common denominator is going to be. And sometimes it's found in one of the two fractions. And in this case, it's the number 12. So 12 is going to be our common denominator. And so this one's going to just carry right straight over, and it's going to be 5/12. But this one needs a little bit more work. What are we going to multiply times 4 to get 12? And the answer to that is 3/3. 1 times 3 is 3. Excuse me. So then we add the whole numbers. We add the fractions. And then we put the whole number over here right with the fraction. We should simplify, but they have the answer unsimplified over here. But what's one number we could divide by both 8 and 12? You could say 2, and that would make it 4/6. And then you would have to divide again by 2. 2 halves again, which would make it 2/3. And you don't want to forget the 4. But you could also do this. Whoa, that's a funky looking 4. You could divide it by just one number, and that would be 4. And that would take us right to 2/3 right away. And you don't have to do 2 steps. Okay. Very good. All right, let's look at the last guided practice. Now, if by this point you understand completely what we're doing and you think I could do this on my own, I don't need to follow along, go right ahead. Just simply watch later on to see what the correct answer is on the video. Okay, there it is. Lilja swam 4 1/4 lengths of the pool. Sunaina swam 6 1/2 lengths of the pool. How many more lengths of the pool did Sunaina swim than Elja? Okay, so it says how many more. This means it's going to be a subtraction problem. Okay, so we take, let me get my writing tool. We're going to take the amount that Sha'ina swam, which is 6 1/2, minus 4 1/7. Now you might be looking and saying, what's going to be my greatest common denominator between 2 and 7? And many of you might know already, it's going to be 14. So we're going to have to convert both of these fractions. So you ask yourself, what times 2 gives you 14? 7/7. 1 times 7 is 7. What times 7 is going to give you 14? 2 halves. 2 times 1 is 2. 7/14 minus 2/14 equals 5/14. 6 minus 4 is 2. So you just bump that over here, and our answer is 2 5/14. So you don't need to simplify that because it cannot be simplified. The answer is letter D. Excuse me. All right, so that ends the guided practice. Let me erase all this. So we have some IXLs. As I said in yesterday's video, I'll say it again today. And for some cases, it's only like less than an hour away. Maybe it's an hour away, but the grades are due at noon today. Excuse me. So if you have not yet already gotten everything done, please get everything completed. Okay, you see some fine examples of what we just did that is in your IXLs. Please make sure you set it up vertically. And then we also have some examples of, they are showing us mixed numbers and they want you to show one that's less or one that's greater. You should be able to do that relatively easy. There is no assignment because it is the weekend, but get these 2 IXLs done if you have not done so already. The clock is ticking. The quarter is going to be ending, and you need to get these done if you haven't already done so. I hope you have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Have a great day and a great weekend.